I understand that you've tried different study methods, but none of it seemed to work well. Right here on today's video, I'm going to be showing you scientifically proven methods that can transform the way you study, and it will help you remember and understand anything you study at any point in time. These techniques are techniques that I've actually applied myself, and it has helped me a lot. This is a technique that nobody is actually talking about, and if you stay and pay attention to the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can apply them step by step. So stick with me as I show you the techniques. The first scientifically proven technique that I'll be discussing on today's video is sleep integrated method of studying. Whenever you are trying to learn anything that you want to remember, if you don't sleep, there is no how you'll be able to remember that thing, because sleep is very important in memory consolidation. And this is what I mean. In order for you to be able to move something from your short time memory, that is your working memory, to your long time memory, it is very important for you to sleep. If you don't sleep, there is no how consolidation will happen. Whenever you learn something initially, you make connections. So in order for the connection to be solidified, you need to sleep. You cannot make the connection while you are awake. So most of the time when students study a day before their exam or few days before their exam, and they cannot even remember by the time they get to the exam, or they didn't give the brain time to consolidate the information to move from the short time memory to the long time memory. That is why they forget a lot, and this short time memory has limited capacity. So if you cannot actually move what you are learning from the short time memory to the long time memory, every effort that you've made in studying that thing will go to waste. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the step-by-step process on how to apply the sleep integrated method of studying in order for you to be able to remember anything you want to study at any point in time. So the first thing that you need to take into consideration when you are studying something initially is to apply the active engagement. When I mean by active engagement, try to engage with what you are learning rather than passively. I've discussed that in a lot of my videos. You can check that out. In order for this sleep integrated method to work well, you need to actively engage with what you are learning. Try to force your brain to engage with what you are learning by asking yourself questions and by jotting down things rather than just reading passively. So the next thing that you need to do is the pre-sleep review. At this pre-sleep review, this is where you review whatever you want to study before going to bed or before sleeping at all. It is very important for you to do this, because in order for you to be able to consolidate where you are sleeping, then you go for sleep. And it is advisable to go for up to 7 to 9 hours of sleep in order for anything to be consolidated in your brain. Or by the time you are reading during the day, you can just go for short rests in between, then you go back to your studying. It is very important. Then after doing this, this is when you go to the post-sleep review. At this post-sleep review, this is where you test yourself on what you've learned before you actually, of what you learned when you've actually reviewed at the pre-sleep review. So at this point, you discover that everything that you've learned, it makes it's very easy for you to recall, because you must have consolidated and you must have learned it, and everything you learned has been solidified at that point. Then after doing that, then this is where you test yourself and you see. Now, in order for you to be very smooth, because this step is not something you go through once, you have to go through it multiple times before the day of your exam. And it's very important to apply the spaced repetition while you are doing this. After the initial study, give yourself a little time to review it again, and it becomes solidified at that point. And by using active recall and sleeping in between while you are applying this spaced repetition, it will help you solidify the information very well, and it makes it easy for you to be able to remember at any point in time. Another scientifically proven methods that you can apply in order for you to be able to sustain anything in your brain and be able to understand and remember is error reflection. Whenever you are trying to study something, it is very normal to counter errors. And these errors should actually help you to learn them better, because it is when you look into these errors and you analyze them, that is when you'll be able to know your lapses and where to focus on, and where you need to either understand or remember at any point in time. And there are steps to follow whenever you want to analyze your error, and in order for you to be able to reflect on them very well, and in order for you to be able to use them as a stepping stone for you to be able to correct any deficiency that you might have encountered before. There are 3 steps you can follow when you are actually doing this error reflection. The first thing that you need to do is to discover your mistake. Whenever you are trying to learn something, just learn mindlessly. Try to pay attention and look at the mistakes that you might have done. Then after looking at those mistakes, it's very important for you to analyze the root cause of the mistake. Is it that you are not paying attention when you are trying to learn that thing? Is it that you didn't have prior knowledge about what you are learning at that point in time? Is it that you didn't actually understand what you are learning at that point in time? If you try to discover the mistake and you look at the root cause of the mistake, it will help you know what to do at any point in time in order for you to resolve that and be able to move on. The next scientifically proven study methods that you've never discovered yet is elaborative interrogation. Now, elaborative interrogation is just a process in which you keep asking yourself the why question anytime you are trying to learn. Instead of just reading passively, anytime you learn something, always ask yourself, why is this thing like this? In order for you to be able to go deeper. Because if you don't ask the why question, there's no how you'll be able to go through the deep processing, and there is no how you'll be able to understand and eventually remember anything you want to study. Whenever you are applying this elaborative interrogation, there are steps you need to follow. The first step that you need to follow while applying this elaborative interrogation is that you should identify the key concepts in whatever you are trying to learn. Now, you might be learning something about demand and supply. You might be learning something about the quadratic equations or the calculus. Look at the key concepts in the calculus or in the quadratic equation or the demand and supply that you are trying to learn. You are trying to learn the law of demand, which is the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. Now, in order for you to apply elaborative consolidation in this case, you need to identify the key concept, which is demand. Ask the why question. Now, the why question is, why is it that when the price goes up, the demand goes down? Then, instead of you just memorizing that particular law, if you ask yourself the why question, it will actually make you go deeper into the root cause of that particular law and be able to, and help you understand more, because it is understanding that matters. It is not just by memorizing a particular thing. So if you can understand that particular law by asking yourself the why question, why is it that when the demand goes up, price goes down? Then the why question will help you to explain the reason perfectly. Then after asking the why question, it is very important to generate explanation, because it is from this why question you'll be able to know why it is like that. Then you generate explanation, and while you are generating this explanation, it is very important for you to write them down in your own words by paraphrasing from the why question that you've discovered, or the why answer that you've discovered, or by summarizing the information. The last stage when it comes to elaborative interrogation is to review and reflect. Now, it is very important for you to reflect on the explanation you've generated, because it is through this you'll be able to apply it to real world application, and also you'll be able to apply it to any experience that you've had in the past. And through that, you'll be able to review consistently and be able to get that solidified into your brain. One thing that I want you to point out is that the rate at which you learn depends on two things. It's the rate at which you can move from focused to diffused thinking. Focused thinking is when you are actually solving a familiar problem. You have a neural pathway of that particular thing that you are trying to solve at that point in time, and you've gotten familiar with it over time. Then as you go on, you can actually hit a roadblock. At this point, it is important that you move to a diffused thinking. At this diffused thinking, be able to reflect more. And it is at this stage that your brain works in the background and tries to provide solutions to the challenges that you are facing while you are in the focus mode. Whenever you are trying to learn something, always try to switch between the focus and the diffuse mode at interval. That's the only way you can actually tackle difficult challenges or tackle anything that you are finding difficult to understand at any point in time whenever you are learning. It is very important. If you got so much value from this video, please click the like button and also subscribe to the channel. You can also check this video out on other tips that can help you study effectively and efficiently. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.